Hello and welcome back to the A Plus U podcast. I'm your host, Danielle.
And I'm your co-host, Amber. Wow, I was sleeping on that one.
Amber is here today. Amber, tell us what you did last weekend.
I may have gone car shopping.
Oh, some people love that. Some people hate that.
I loved it because I have heat in my vehicle now.
You went the whole winter without heat?
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Ooh.
You just dress warm. Wear mittens.
That sounds chilly.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. Did you get a new big car or a small little car?
Like an SUV. Like I had a Jeep Grand Cherokee and now I have a Honda Pilot. So it's nice. I like it.
Extra room,
but also sits high enough to see over traffic.
Do you know what? I understand that sentiment. My husband has a smaller SUV, and it's one where the numbers are like on the like they come up.
Oh
and
yeah,
like on
the heads-up display.
Yeah.
Really like that.
Even in his car, even if I'm all the way like raised, I still cannot see it because I'm so short.
Well, I don't have that problem. I see the heads-up display.
Oh my God. It's so funny. Yeah.
And I think you're taller than I am.
Yeah. Well, car shopping, springtime. I think that's a great segue to introduce our guest.
Absolutely. I know our guest talks a lot about auto lending and other items and his role. Brad, can you introduce yourself for us?
You bet. My name's Brad Edwards, and I'm a senior phone lender. I work with our Bemidji team and take phone calls, talk to our members over the phone.
In primarily lending.
Lending, yes, consumer lending. So pretty much anything except for mortgages.
Absolutely. But also you have some of your regular members. You've been here a long time, and they still call you not about lending.
Right, exactly.
How long have you been with Affinity Plus now?
It's been 19 years now.
Oh my goodness. I was definitely on like the 17-year thought process.
That's what I was thinking too till I saw it. I actually thought it was 18. And then now I looked up, oh, actually it's 19, I think.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's quite the tenure. That's more than Amber.
It is more than
barely,
me.
but yeah.
Have you always been in Bemidji?
Well, I actually live in Grand Rapids, but I work with our Bemidji team because that's where our phone lenders, we're actually spread out over the state. So we'll go there, 1 week a quarter. Matter of fact, we have that coming up in February. It's always fun to get together with the team, but mostly I just work from home. So I've always been in Grand Rapids, except for a little 4-month stint to Arizona.
Oh.
And that's a long story. That's another podcast, I think.
You had to get away for the winter. That's
I
what
thought
we'll
so. Yeah, but 113, I'm like, I think I can handle a little winter. So.
I don't know. We did get to negative
yeah, I was thinking about that the other day, actually. I was doing a loan for a member, and they were like, just kind of rubbing it in a little bit, 70 down here.
Hey, that's okay. You know what? Life is all about experiences.
Right.
And our finances are no different.
Exactly.
Right. So, today, we are going to kind of hone in on the topic of kind of credit and what is a credit score? How can you make a credit score work for you?
Right.
I assume you have that conversation daily.
Yes, all the time, multiple times a day.
So I guess just to kind of get us starting on the conversation of credit, a lot of people are afraid of what credit is. A lot of people, when you think about credit, you think about, oh no, what is this? When is it? How do I use it? So can you just talk a little bit about, when people come to you with concerns about credit, how can you ease their concerns? And I guess, what are their concerns?
Yeah, I think the biggest question you get right away is, will I qualify for this loan? What is my credit score? Is it good? Is it bad? Where am I at? Will my score be high enough? Will I qualify for that loan with that credit score? So kind of try to talk them through that and kind of realize that, there's really no such thing as good or bad credit. It's kind of a journey. You'll never reach perfection on your credit. So it's definitely a work in progress for all of us, actually.
I like that perspective that it's not like good or bad. It's a journey.
Right.
And some people do hit perfect, though.
Yeah, once in a while, you have that 850.
I was going to say, I was like, maybe. In my career, I've seen it twice.
I was going to say, I was trying to think of how many loans I've done. I don't know, maybe 20, 30,000 or something. And it's like, I've probably seen 5 or 6 850s.
Yeah, really?
And that's like someone who's had a mortgage or like for 30 years and auto loans. And
established.
Sometimes you can't even get that high, but that is definitely when we were like, hey, put this on the refrigerator when they get one.
Yes, that's a solid report card.
Exactly.
Wow. Well, that's impressive. So maybe let's take a step back just a little bit. And, a credit score is kind of a snapshot of your habits, kind of like what you just said in terms of, how to get that perfect credit score. But it doesn't necessarily define you as a person.
Right, exactly. Yep. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person or anything if your score is low. It's just you may have some work to do and maybe partner with us and we can help you with that.
So then when you think about what goes into a credit score, can you kind of walk us through that so it's easier to understand? Because it's not just a score right here, right now.
Right, exactly. It is about a journey. It is progress. There are some factors that go into a credit score. A big part of it, actually they say 35% of it is your on-time payments. Are you making your payment on time? It's very important to try to do that. If you are struggling, reach out to us. And do your best to not make it hit 30 days. If you hit 30 days, that is a late payment on your credit, and that will take a while to get off of your credit. So do your best making your payments. That's a real important, 1/3 of your scoring is based on that.
When you say hit 30 days, your payments due.
Due, yes.
Okay.
Late. So try to make it on time. We do have a grace period. Most of our loans, 15 days without a penalty. But at the very least, even if you're getting that late fee, try to make an arrangement so we can pay it. Or reach out to us before so we can help you with that. So that's your biggest way. Second is actually your utilization. And that's mostly based on like credit cards, revolving debt, lines of credit, things like that. So a good rule of thumb is you want to try to not use more than 25 to 30% of your available limit or balance. Limit, actually. So for easy math, let's say you have a $1,000 credit card limit. Try your best not to carry over $250 to $300, $350 on a consistent basis. It might happen. It might go a little higher at times, but try to keep that down if you can. Even pay it off if you can each month is great, but at the very least, try not to max it out. And that can really help people's credit a lot. Now, if they start hitting over 50% or maxing out the card, that can really hurt. And even going over the limit. And credit cards don't always stop right at that $1,000 or that limit. You have interest that will post each month. So then all of a sudden you're over the limit, and that really is derogatory on your credit.
Yeah, and that interest is only going to post if you didn't make your payment, if you didn't pay off the credit card in full.
Exactly. Yep. Otherwise you have that grace period on like our cards and most credit cards. And one more factor I can think of is your length of credit history. Sometimes you don't have a choice. You got to start somewhere. Some people don't have any credit. Some people have paid cash all their life. But we can help you start. Maybe it's a small credit card, small line of credit. We even have a credit builder loan or a loan where we supply the money, you put it and you pay a little bit of interest on that, and then that money is available to you after. So there's some ways that you can get that credit history going, but it does take time. But hey, we're here to partner with you and start on that journey with you.
Look at that length of credit history for just a second, because I think that's a good point for people trying to understand, like my kids, like I have kids.
Mm-hmm, right.
So, thinking through like if I have a teenager or something like that, what is a good way to help children or help people that are maybe younger who don't have credit get that credit? Is that credit builder loan the right way to go when they're that young, or is it something else?
Yeah, probably not that so much because you can't do a loan on your own until you're 18. However, you could be a co-signer or co-borrower on a loan, and we tend to ask you to be 16 to do that. However, you can make any age of your children an authorized user on your credit cards. I did that for my kids. I had learned that, from working here, and they actually did have a credit score when they turned 18. They had some history. So even though they're not responsible for the debt, so to speak, they actually are building credit as long as you're making good on-time payments and handling that credit card well. But once they turn 18, a lot of members will reach out, whether they still need a co-signer or co-borrower. Sometimes they do, but sometimes they can do that small credit card, that small line of credit on their own. And most people will qualify for a $500 to $1,000 loan, credit card, as long as they do have income coming in.
Okay.
So I know we talked about this a little bit just on the on-time payments side of things. So what happens, like, I totally forgot about this payment that was due, and now I have a late payment reporting on my credit. Is that just going to like hurt me forevermore, or what would you say is the best way to get away from that?
Yeah, you just have to give it time. Don't let it snowball. Try to move on. Try to start making them on time. It will stay on your credit report for some time, but the further away you get from that late payment, the less it will affect your score. And try to have positive credit going in addition, and that'll help. So it may lower you 10, 20 points or so, depending on how many other trade lines you have, how much other credit you have. But it is important to just move on and do the best. What's done is done, and unless it was a mistake or something on our part or another lender's part, then you want to try to dispute that, try to get that corrected. But if it is your mistake or it is something late, then you're just going to have to live with that, but move on. Try to get that positive credit going.
So Danielle, Brad has told me not to dwell on it.
Got it.
It happens.
Don't dwell on it.
That is the key.
I mean,
no
dwelling. Truly.
Move forward.
I mean, it's just kind of one of those things, like you said, you can't change it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's happened to probably all of us,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right.
There's a lot going on to keep track of, and sometimes
it is.
Sometimes that bill falls through.
I
the
was
cracks.
paying for Amazon Prime 2 accounts for about a year, and finally realized it. So, like, wait a minute here.
It can happen to the best of us.
We talked about watching, keeping an eye on your streaming services and things like that.
That's a big one now.
Because you thought you canceled it after that free trial, but you sure didn't.
And you might have actually, but
did you? You just forgot to hit okay.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Right.
So, Brad, I know we just talked about maintaining your streaming services and keeping an eye on those things. So spending happens anyway.
Right.
What is the difference between or can you share what the difference is, like whether credit is helping you or hurting you?
Right. I think, we all have to have credit. There's very few people that have no debt at all or can just slap down 30 or 40,000 for a new car or more or a house.
Yeah. Did you pay cash, Amber?
Oh, gosh, no.
Yeah. I mean, I would not be able to make it down here if I didn't have a car loan. Drive 3 hours. So
I appreciate my credit union.
Absolutely. So, most people, and if you waited your whole life, I mean, would you ever have a house? By the time you had the money, it'd probably be too expensive. So, I mean, you got to think of it that way. So we do have credit. We do spend money. It's important. But really, where I've seen some members get in trouble is maybe when they have the emotional spending, like, oh, I just saw this snowmobile, or I just wanted my son to have this four-wheeler or something, or we wanted to have the boat, and you haven't really thought it through. And we like to spend. I mean, like, I love coming down to Minneapolis, and after this, I'm going to go to Sierra because we don't have a Sierra, and I love getting, camping stuff or my even clothes there. These boots are from Sierra, so so it's like, but do you have a plan? How long are you going to be paying on that debt? If you stop and think about it, if I go on this trip and I charge it and I'm not thinking about it, how do I, when do I want to pay this off? Is it going to take me a year? Is it going to take me 2 years? And that kind of gets into making just your minimum payments. Let's say you do use your credit card for something and you've planned it out and you think, I'm going to just make the minimum payment. How long are you going to pay? Matter of fact, a few years ago, they passed a law that you have to put on the statements, the credit card statements, how long it will take if you make a minimum payment. So you've probably seen that. It will say, this will take you 5 years, 10 years, 12 years if you only make the minimum payment. And that's without putting money back on the card. So think to yourself, okay, how long is it going to take to pay this $5,000 back? Do I want to pay it back in 18 months? Well, then I should pay $600 a month or $300 a month. And you can call us and ask us and say, hey, can you amortize this for me? How long will it take me to pay this back? And then trying to be as disciplined as you can and not just make that minimum payment. Otherwise, I mean, you will pay for that trip maybe 3-4 times over.
And that's specific, you're speaking to maybe a credit card.
Credit card, yes, exactly.
Card. Okay.
Yep. Or if you take out we do have a holiday loan that people sometimes use, and that is amortized over only 10 months, which is nice. So you do have to make a little bit bigger of a payment, and it will be gone. Your payment might be, if you use the whole $2,500, it might be $260, $265, but you're making that payment each month. Whereas a credit card, if you're only making that minimum, again, you could pay for years and years.
And so talking like the difference there would be the fixed loan, which is like a holiday loan or an unsecured loan that we offer at Affinity Plus, or the credit cards, like you're saying, where it's the minimum payment, which is generally a percentage of a balance owed that is required to be paid each month.
Exactly. And the lower your interest, the better. Mm-hmm. You can make better progress and have a less of a payment, hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about, credit, and we're talking about credit scores. So I have a friend who, she does talk about a credit score a lot, and it is something that I feel like she is just like very on top of. But I guess in my humble opinion, credit should serve you, should serve your life, not run your life.
Right.
What's your take on that, Brad?
Oh, yeah, I agree. It's like we said, probably not going to be perfection. It's not a race to get to that perfect score. It's about maintaining it. If anything, it might be a marathon or whatever. But just trying to maintain that and thinking of your credit more as a tool that allows you to, meet your goals, to buy things you need or you want.
What are some habits that you can speak to for someone who, I know we've talked about, making your payment on time, but are there any other things that someone can do just like in their daily life or somewhere to start to help have their credit help them?
I think automatic payments is probably my biggest recommendation. I've seen that for myself helping. And if you have that automatic payment that comes out before you know it's out, you're not going to have to worry, or you're going to say, oh no, I'm in my grace period, I forgot about this payment. If it comes out automatically, it's out. And even looking at a biweekly payment, most people are paid biweekly. So if you say you have $1,000 loan payment, and if you paid $500 every time you're paid, not only will you make one more extra payment per year, but it will help pay down that debt, pay down the interest. Plus, it actually feels easier to make that, payment twice in 1 month, a smaller amount, than trying to come up with the big amount. So you might be taking a little of this check and a little of this check instead of all of it out of that check. So I think that really helps. And then also having a budget. I know some people don't like that word budget, but so we're like, well, maybe you want to call it a spending plan because you're going to spend money anyway. But it doesn't matter. I've seen people who have a lot of income and they still struggle because they don't have any kind of spending plan, any kind of budget. So no matter who we are, we have to have that budget and kind of see, just even sitting down, I try to do that at least every couple months, sit down and say, how much is actually coming from my check after taxes, insurance? How much are my expenses each month? How much are my loans? And just see kind of where you can make some changes. And maybe it is getting rid of a couple streaming services or doing something else, or maybe you realize you can afford a little bit more. So being careful. And then we talked a little bit about the intentional borrowing too before. If you're just driving down the road and you don't know, your heat's not out on your car and you know that you need a new car, or you don't know you don't need a new car, and you're just like, oh man, but I'd like this car. It looks really cool. I've always wanted one or something. Try to plan ahead, because I've had people on a Monday morning call and say, I did a loan with a dealer, but I realized this truck can't even pull my boat or camper. And then they're stuck. And then now you have negative equity and you're trying to get rid of that, puts you behind the 8 ball. So just being intentional. Plan. What do you want that payment to be? How long do you want to pay it for?
I think all of those are great methods. I think just a spending plan and knowing what comes in every month and what's going to go out every month makes such a difference. And whether you're sitting down to do that every couple months, every month, whatever it may look like for each individual person is beyond helpful, because you could really have a lot more going out than what you realize if you don't keep track of it.
Right. I just did that last month. I'm like, wow, we do have a lot going out. We're okay in our position, but there's some things that I could cut out for sure.
Yeah. And it's a personal choice though too, because you may have a lot going out and it's like, well, I enjoy my lifestyle today.
That's true.
And it works for me.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So as we think about, monitoring your credit score and understanding what that is, Brad, what are some resources, or where can people go find what their credit score is?
Yeah, well, it's really nice right now because we've had Savvy Money on the website through the app where you can actually get your credit score, but it is the exact credit score that we pull now. It's TransUnion. Vantage 4. There's different models, different bureaus, but we pull from TransUnion Vantage 4, and you can actually get that credit score. So that really will help you to see what your rate's going to be even before you apply for the loan. Then if you do qualify, you at least know kind of what your payment will be. And there's so many tools on our website at affinityplus.org and through the app. Budgeting tools, we're releasing some new ones. They're really, really good for financial planning.
Okay, and Brad, you mentioned that the credit score is in the digital banking app here at Affinity Plus. But that's not considered a hard pull. And can you kind of
talk? That's correct.
Can you kind of talk to a hard pull or what that is, what that means?
Right. That credit score that we have available each month, that updates each month, that is your actual score, but it is just a snapshot. Your credit is pulled, and they call that a hard pull, whenever you apply for new credit. So whether it's a new loan, car loan, auto loan, any kind of credit card, we will pull your credit from TransUnion. If you go to a car dealership, they sometimes will shop around, and we've seen 6, 7, 8 credit pulls in the same day. It's not as bad in the same day, or within a 2-week period. However, those are credit pulls, so you want to be careful of that. And the credit bureaus, when you are shopping and you do have your credit pulled or take out a new loan, they will lower your score a couple points. It all depends on how much other credit you have, but that is something to take into consideration. You don't want to be shopping around too much and have your credit pulled too much.
Because like you said, every kind of pull is a point or two.
Right.
So in the overall grand scheme of things, not horrible, but if you're doing it over and over and over,
right,
that is something that's going to
It's something you have to do if you're going to take out a loan. A lot of people call, they're very conscious of that. I don't want my credit pulled. We'll try to kind of give them an idea. Now that we know, maybe what their score is, I can quote them a rate and be pretty confident as long as they qualify for it. And then if they do want their credit actually pulled, we put that application in, and we can use that credit pull for up to 30 days for any loan they do, whether their car changes to a different kind or they want a motorcycle or a boat instead. We can get fun. That. Yeah. Or a credit card, a Premier Select credit card.
So, Brad, we've talked about a lot today, but when you think about, like, if someone remembers one thing from today's conversation, what should it be?
I think that credit is a journey. It's not a race. You're not going to ever be done with it. So, just embrace that journey. Let credit work for you.
Oh, that's good.
That was really good.
Okay.
It was inspirational. I loved it.
Awesome.
And it's a good reminder. I think that's the piece to just keep in mind, is that credit is never stagnant. It's always something that is ever evolving over time.
Well, and I mean, again, if you're in a sticky credit situation right now, that doesn't have to be the case in a year.
Right.
And that's where, we have resources that can help you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have our financial coaches and the website. And
yeah, there's lots of resources available. So what is today does not have to be tomorrow.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Well, Brad, thank you so much for driving on down
Thank you for having me.
with Amber and I today. Your wealth of knowledge is very welcome. So,
well, thank you. Really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we can't wait to have you back if you'll have us back.
Absolutely. I'd love to.
Awesome. Well, make sure you listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and check out affinityplus.org for more information about Affinity Plus. And we'll catch you on the next episode of A Plus U.